3 games that will define the title. It seems a little bit early, doesn't it, for such statements, but that is what the media are saying at least. And yes, Liverpool's run over the next 7 days might be a touch daunting, but it's one game at a time for Arne Slot and his team. Before Manchester City and Newcastle, the full focus is on Villa Park this evening. It's Aston Villa against Liverpool in the Premier League. Kickoff is 7:30. That is when we will guide you through all the action with our live audio commentary. Yeah, welcome along to tonight's Matchday Live. Another massive 90 minutes lie in wait for Liverpool. I have got Neil Mellor and Nigel Spatman alongside me for this one. Before we hear from the lads, though, let's cross over now to Villa Park, where former Red David Thompson is pitch side for us. First, though, Rob Jones has got news of the Liverpool starting lineup for tonight. Rob.
Becky, thank you very much indeed. The only unbeaten away record in English football you would think is about to be put under some serious pressure this week. The champions on Sunday for Liverpool, but Aston Villa here in the Midlands tonight. It was nervy against Wolves on Sunday, but Arne Slot's side got the job done, and he makes one change from the side that started that victory at Anfield at the weekend. Curtis Jones back from suspension and into the team in place of the first goal scorer in that game, Luis Diaz. So the Liverpool team in full. It'll be Alisson in goal. His last 5 clean sheets in all competitions have all come away from home. It's a back four of Trent Alexander-Arnold, Ibrahima Konate, Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson, who makes his 300th Premier League appearance at the scene of one of his most important Liverpool goals. In front of that, it's Ryan Gravenberch and Alexis McAllister, who scored after 49 seconds of a game for Brighton against Villa in 2022. We think that maybe Curtis Jones might play from the left-hand side tonight. Dominic Szoboszlai and then Mo Salah, who has been involved in more than 60% of Liverpool's Premier League goals this season. Diogo Jota will lead the line. It means the likes of Nunez, Chiesa on the bench in reserve, as are both Jarell Quansah and Connor Bradley, who could both make their 50th Liverpool appearances if they come on tonight. So let's get the thoughts then of the former Liverpool midfielder David Thompson, who is alongside me. I will be watching tonight. Why then do we think that Curtis Jones is in and possibly playing from that wider position?
I think we're going for legs up front with Szoboszlai. He's going to be pulling the defenders in and about there and leave some space for maybe Diaz to go in, Salah to go in, and even Curtis to go in. I think we think we're going to have a lot of possession of the ball, which is exactly why Curtis is in there. And I've got full trust in him. He's a magnificent footballer. So interesting team selection. Interesting that we've not gone for Nunez up front. I think it's a little bit of a snub for him, but you know, he's got to work hard to get back in the team.
Again, speculating a bit that it is Jones who's going to play on that left-hand side, so it doesn't give you the natural width that someone like Diaz does. Is it possibly a counter on the way that Aston Villa might set up tonight?
Yes, I think so, yeah, because obviously I think in possession of the ball they like to go a bit narrow, they like to play that box in midfield, so it probably is to counter that a little bit, maybe to outnumber them. So yeah, it's just it's going to be very interesting tonight. It's such an intriguing game. Obviously, you've got 2 tacticians, Arne Slot and the Tinker Man, Unai Emery. So yeah, it's going to be an intriguing game today. Can't wait for it.
Just on that point about the forwards then, and Nunez not playing against the team he scored against earlier in the season, do you get the sense that he's maybe trying to play Diogo Jota into a bit of form and fitness, Arne Slot?
He's definitely trying to manage Diogo. I mean, when fully fit, he's an exceptional talent. I just think he's struggled a little bit in that 9 position this year. We spoke about it many times. How many times have we, been at these games and we're talking about how he's not been quite 100% in that 9 position. I think he likes coming in from the wide positions, out to in, not, starting from the central position going out. So, yeah, it must be frustrating for Diogo. And obviously you've got Darwin there. I think he's another one who struggles in that 9 position. I think he's another one who scores most of his goals from that left side area. So we've got about 5 players competing for that left side area. And yeah, but you've got Cody there, you've got Diaz there. Diaz coming back into form on that left-hand side the weekend. Scored a goal, got a penalty. So yeah, it's very competitive up there. But I think we do struggle a little bit in that 9 position.
It's interesting though, isn't it? Because we talk about hopefully getting Jota and Nunez into a bit of goal-scoring form. Diaz scored his first goal of 2025 on Sunday, because there's a part of you that thinks you can't keep relying on Mo Salah. But then there's another part who thinks, actually, you probably can keep relying on Mo Salah because he's that good.
You probably can. I don't think I've seen a player, like, not participate in a game so much. You know, just be on the peripheral of a game and then just go and put the game to bed by himself. I've never seen a player so cold and lethal as Mo Salah. Not even Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer, you know, he floats about, he gets involved in the game. But this new Mo Salah 2.0, you know, he sits there, he lulls you into a false sense of security, and then he takes the game by the scruff of the neck and he puts it to bed. So, you know, to have someone like him in your team, it's absolutely incredible. And we just need to sort his contract out now.
The final point then would be, and I mentioned it at the top, I know we'll probably say this about 8 more times between now and May, this feels like a huge week. If Liverpool could go 4 or even 6 points from Villa and City away, you dread to say it, but the end comes a lot closer into sight, doesn't it, for Liverpool in terms of being champions?
I mean, we're in an unexpected position. We didn't expect to be here at the start of the season, so it is. I mean, we're enjoying the journey and we're enjoying the process, but this is an important week for us. Everybody's expecting us to slip up. You know, they were all made up when we slipped up against Everton the other day, but that's a bit of an anomaly, really, isn't it? It's the Merseyside derby. It's always a bit of a throwback. And then I think at the game on Saturday was just a little bit of a hangover from that. I think, you know, obviously going 2-0 up, comfortably going 2-0 up, could have been 3 and 4 if we wanted to. And then coming out for the second half, they changed their tactics. They went man for man, and we've got to give them credit for that, because, you know, there's clever managers in this league, and you're not in this league if you haven't got something about you. So, yeah, it was just, I don't think it was anything to do with mental focus or mentality or fatigue. I just think it was just a little bit of a hangover from conceding that goal. I don't even think we looked tired against Everton. We didn't play well, but we didn't look tired.
OK, we will leave it there. We will talk about tonight's opponents very shortly. It's been a happy hunting ground for Liverpool in recent years. Just 1 defeat here in their last 14 Premier League visits, and that was behind closed doors during the pandemic. We'll talk about Villa's team shortly, but 3 changes for Unai Emery tonight, including first Premier League starts for both Marco Asensio and Marcus Rashford.
Thank you very much indeed. Hopefully that happy hunting ground continues this evening. A warm welcome to you two. The lads have just touched on it there. We are saying it almost every week, Mels, but it does feel like another huge 90 minutes tonight. And a few nerves about this one, I think, in the fan base.
Yeah, it felt like a key period because it was 5 games in 15 days. The Everton one's gone. Got a point there. Maybe could have been 3. 3 points at the weekend, which felt really important. Could have maybe dropped a couple with Wolves, the way they played in that second half, but there's 4 points from those 2 games. This one's in the middle. Then we've got City away, which we know how tough that would be, and then Newcastle at home. So if you come through that period and still have that gap, which we have at the moment, 7-point gap, it can be 10 points tonight, that's when it becomes a lot harder for Arsenal. Arsenal, the closest team to us, they're the ones chasing us. This is a tough game. Villa is a place where they don't lose many games. They've only lost once at home so far this season in the Premier League. And they'll make it difficult. And they're fighting to get into European places, Villa. So for them, Liverpool, Chelsea at home, they'll be hoping themselves to get some points to get closer to that top 4-5 place where they want to be. Yeah,
that one defeat obviously came to Arsenal right at the start of the season, Nigel. It was their first home game. I mean, it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that Liverpool have to rise to if you're going to win the Premier League.
Absolutely, and if you're in all those competitions, you know, you've got the Cup final to look forward to, Champions League starts again, then there's an international break as well. So you can only concentrate really on the game tonight, and I think that's why he's hardly made any changes tonight. I think he's gone right. Maybe just 1-2 changes I'll make. Keep it strong because this is an important game tonight. 3 points away at Villa. And as Neil says, open that game up to that 10-point gap up. But they look very, very tired at the weekend. And I just hope that he's gone to them, right, we're really winding it down. We're going to rest most of the time. If you've got injuries, let's get those sorted. Do a little bit of personal training. We'll do a little bit of shape. And that's about all we've done from game to game.
Well, it is just the one change. Let's remind you of the Liverpool starting 11 to face Aston Villa this evening. And that one change, Mels, is quite the talking point. I don't think the inclusion of Curtis Jones is a surprise, given obviously fresh legs didn't play at the weekend. But maybe positionally, that's a start that we weren't expecting from Arne Slot, where he's starting.
Yeah, I mean, we all thought there might be more changes. You know, you thought, would maybe Conor Bradley start again ahead of Trent? Would Tsimikas come in for Conor Bradley? Would maybe we see Endo start as well in midfield for his first Premier League? He did really well. So you're thinking about what changes were possible. Maybe Darwin Núñez as well. But I think Nigel touched on it there. The manager's clearly spoke to the players, and he's spoken to, are you ready to go again? Recover. They won't have done a lot between this game and the game at the weekend against Wolves. And that one change, Curtis Jones, which we thought would happen, but where does he play? Does Curtis play on left, or is it Szoboszlai? I think Szoboszlai, we saw last sort of 15-20 minutes left-hand side against Wolves. I think it's more likely Szoboszlai would be down the left and Curtis Jones in the middle. But there is that flexibility maybe to alter both players at certain times. Or even Jota could drift at left and Szoboszlai may go into a more central position.
Yeah, I suppose it's that battle of getting people into a rhythm. And you look at Luis Diaz, obviously, and you would think maybe it would be an ideal time for him to start again after getting a goal at the weekend after a few weeks without one, Nigel. But also so many games coming up, and the boss has to keep people fresh and keep those fresh legs as well for what is a very hectic fixture list.
And that's the very difficult thing you have as a manager, as a coach. You're looking at all these, how are they performing in training, who looks tired, who needs a rest. And I just think with Diaz tonight, maybe he's gone, I need someone on the bench who can affect the game if I bring them on. So him and Núñez probably are the ones, if you need a goal, he's going to throw them on, maybe change it around. But I agree with Neil. I think Szoboszlai's play on that left-hand side just for his energy, and Curtis are playing there for his energy to try and squeeze the ball a little bit higher up and put them under pressure. Because Villa, for me, with the injuries they have, are more vulnerable defensively. I think they're better offensively. And obviously with the new signings coming in tonight for them, that's going to give them a cutting edge going the other way, trying to put us under pressure defensively. But we've got to have that energy to squeeze them up the park and force mistakes at the back. And then hopefully the likes of Jota and Mo can score goals again.
I think a key thing to remember as well for Villa is their defensive midfielder, Kamara, he's not fit. And I know he played centre-half at the weekend, but he's the best they have in that position. And I wonder if that's maybe coming to the manager's thinking a little bit, because he's not available. And we know Szoboszlai's not a Diaz or a Gakpo who's going to stay out left. He might just come into those sort of little pockets, in those little 10 positions, and that would become a big problem for Aston Villa tonight. Without that natural defensive midfield player, can we hurt them in those little pockets of space? Szoboszlai's brilliant at that, finding those little areas.
Well, we go into this, obviously, off the back of what was 3 points against Wolves, but it was a real Jekyll and high performance in terms of that first half. You know, you're going into the break, and I think the fans are probably thinking this is going to be 3 or 4 by the end of the 90 minutes. And then that second half, as you say, Nigel, is this the first time that we've maybe seen some fatigue from this Liverpool side this season? And if so, how worrying is that?
Well, it's worrying, but the thing is that they have all the stats on all the players about what their fitness levels are, how they're doing in training, etc. The heart rate monitors, test their blood, everything. So they have all that. But I thought first half we played very well, took the game to Wolves. Wolves looked very stretched in their play. But second half we did drop quite deep. And I just thought Cunha scored a brilliant goal on his left foot, but looks a top player. And then we got very wobbly defensively. I thought Van Dijk was brilliant second half, and Alisson. I thought they stood up and really big counted. But I think players just looked like they were short of energy in the second half. Jarrell made a brilliant challenge as well.
Yeah, we'll see that in a moment, I think. I mean, it was pretty much, as a defender, a challenge that was as valuable as a goal, Mels.
Yeah, I think it becomes worrying if you concede a last-minute goal against Everton, a late goal against Wolves, but we didn't. We had the resilience to say, as ugly, there's the challenge, as ugly as the game was and as difficult as it was, we didn't concede that late goal. Felt like I left Anfield on Sunday thinking, what a win that was. Yeah. It wasn't a 4-5, but a 2-1. It felt, that's a really important win. We didn't concede a late goal. So those 3 points will be absolutely massive. And hopefully the boys will take confidence from that. So for me, I'm not worried at all, the fact that we weren't at our best, because they might have been a little bit jaded from after what happened against Everton. refreshed, ready to go for this one.
Yeah, and it's natural, I suppose, the way that Merseyside derby ends, that they're only humans as much as we think sometimes that footballers aren't. You know, that will be in their minds slightly at the end of a game like that when they're being put under pressure.
But also away at Goodison in that atmosphere, I've been lucky enough to play in that game. It's a magnificent game, but it is draining.
Yeah.
And being 2-1 up so late on and then added on time, a controversial goal, the celebrations afterwards, all the stuff that goes with it. Sometimes it's very hard as an individual to turn off from that, but I think physically and mentally you can be very drained from that. And then going into that Wolves game, which Wolves have nothing to lose, they're fighting for their lives at the bottom of the table, have a go. I thought as the game went on, they took control of it. We couldn't, for the first time this season, control the game, keep the ball long enough to give them a problem. And we need to keep the ball better tonight. And I think the players will know that, Arna will know that, away at Villa. If we keep it well, pick the pass at the right time with the movement we have in the team, we can still win this game tonight.
OK, thank you both. Time now to hear from Arne Slot. He knows it's all eyes on his side at the moment as they look to go 10 points clear of Arsenal tonight. But that's not something that the boss himself is thinking about. Instead, it's very much business as usual, with his eyes firmly on the up-and-coming game this evening at Villa Park.
I see it as 13 games to be played and the next game to be the most important one, starting with Villa away, which is like Wolves at home, again a difficult game for us, but for everyone. They have a great home record, maybe even more if they play in the evening. So we know that is going to be a challenge, but we have quite an okay away record as well this season. We've done quite okay this season in general as well. So it's a game, I think, for everyone to look forward to see these two sides playing against each other. I think Villa away, when you get the fixture list, you all know that Villa away is one of the tougher ones you can face. And but last season was also a very interesting game with it ending 3-3, if I remember correctly. So very good manager, always has a very good game plan. They brought in quite a lot of good players in the winter break as well, and they already had a very good team. They qualified for top 8 in the Champions League. So it tells you that it's a strong team we are going to face, but yeah, that's where I started with. Wolves at home was also tough for us, so there is every game in this period of time for every team in the league is difficult.
It was obviously nervy at the end against Wolves. Is that only natural though at this stage in the title race, and is it anything? Can you do anything to affect that?
I think it is because we're going to the end of the season, and not because of us, but because of what people make of it. Because we've played more games at home or away that we led by 1 goal, and in the end it was also tight. So I can remember Crystal Palace away, where it was really tight in the end, and we had to and Vitor Jaz had to make a big save to secure the win, and we didn't even need a big save now to secure the win. But yeah, if then this happens in the end of the season, people, you guys, are started going to talk about nerves. But yeah, secure a win in the Premier League if you are only leading by 1 goal is always going to be a lot of defending and a lot of hard work. Yeah, and during large parts of the season it's just hard work, and in the end part of the season we talk about nerves. Not me, but a lot of people talk about nerves then.
Arne, when you won the title with Feyenoord in the run-in, I think it was 5 times in 6 games where you won by 1 goal. So I'm just wondering, what experiences can you call upon from that run-in to potentially help this season?
I think it always helps if you've experienced it already, and that's not only for me, that's also for the players. But it's difficult to take things from that period of time towards this period of time, different players, different opponents, different leagues. So, but it tells you, again, what I've said so many times, that in the end phase of the season, it is a lot of games are really tight. It's not only ours. If I just look at all the results, I even saw yesterday playing Barcelona, which is a team I admire a lot and play really good football this season. But they, in the end, they were close to conceding the 1-1. So it is the end phase of the season where results like this are quite common, like in our title-winning season with Feyenoord as well. It tells you that you have a team that fights till the end, and these games you need to win if you want to achieve something.
Yeah, the boss maintaining his usual cool, calm, collected persona. There he is at Villa Park pre-match. I mean, that is his usual outlook, Mels. He's just treating it one game at a time, and that's obviously how he deals with the pressure, is not to look too far into the future, at the bigger picture, if you like.
No, and obviously we know with what happened at the recent game at Goodison, sort of the emotions can certainly get the better of players, staff as well, and you know, it's something that he's learning to adapt to. You know, the Premier League, VAR, officials, all these sort of challenges that having to deal with. But I think he'll take great comfort knowing that we're in a great position to be 7 points clear, to have a healthy squad to pick from. I mentioned about one change tonight, but if you look at the bench, there's game changers there. So if this is a tight game tonight, at a tough place like Aston Villa, there's players that could come off the bench and maybe be the match winners for them. So everything's in a really healthy position at the moment. So the pressure will be thrown at him from the press. Can you handle this? Can Liverpool win the title? And all this sort of thing. And he's dealing with it very nicely, being nice and calm. But it helps when you're 7 points clear. The pressure's very much on Arsenal at the moment.
There's not too many Premier League managers who find the time to have selfies with supporters before a huge match like this, which probably gives a little bit of an insight into how cool he is under the surface now.
Well, I think it's also how different people deal with the pressure. You know, some want to go out on the pitch and just walk around, get away from the dressing room. You've said your bit to the players. This is the team, everybody knows, get on with it. Then he'll go back in and give his team talk, make sure everybody's all right. But it's what he says before the players, before they come out for kick-off. So he probably wants to hide away from them, not see them, and go out and get a bit of fresh air, think about things himself, and do a few pictures, do a few autographs, which is the way he handles it. Other managers want to be in there the whole time, as Neil will tell you, you know, come on, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. He's completely different from that. And I think Jurgen learnt to do that as well. You'd see Jurgen out watching the other team training and all that stuff. Yeah. So all managers are different, but it's how you handle it. And he's handling it extremely well. I know he got a lot of criticism after the Everton defeat, especially back in the Netherlands. He got plenty of stick, but you've got to deal with that. And when you're at the top, and you're a top manager, it's like being a player. They're there to be shot at. And I think he's handling the situation really well, being very cool. But this is the most testing time so far. Everything's been fantastic. Now is the big test. Coming into that cup final, can you get the points on the board? You've just got Joe Gomez, who's out injured. You've got a full squad. You've got to get it right, and you've got to rotate it right to get the results.
We have to give him credit, because obviously he has, of course, won a title before with Feyenoord in his second season with the club. But the Premier League, I think, probably brings it a different type of pressure. It's a whole different beast, isn't it? Because
of the quality, yeah. I mean, I don't watch the Dutch football, but I can imagine that if you're not quite at it, you can get away with it. In the Premier League, you can't. You really can't. We saw at the weekend against Wolves how competitive they are, and they're, you know, in a relegation battle. And again tonight, Aston Villa, they're at home. They've got things to play for themselves. This is a very, very difficult game tonight, and the manager will be well aware of that. He's picked a very, very strong lineup, knowing that there's going to be a reaction from Villa, because they drew at the weekend against Ipswich. Everyone thought it was a banker home win. They'll beat Ipswich. Well, they didn't, 1-1. And so they'll have a little bit of a point to prove tonight. So if you're not at it in the Premier League, you can drop points. And that is the thing that I think he's well aware of compared to perhaps the Dutch League. Let's just remind you how the top of the Premier League table looks at the moment, because, as we say, this is obviously an opportunity for Liverpool to extend that gap. So what would be a huge 10 points by the end of this evening, potentially? I mean, Arsenal as well, Nigel, of course, scrapped their way to a win at the weekend as well over Leicester, which a lot of people thought that game might be a lot easier for them than it proved to be. I guess we are going to see a lot of nervous 90 minutes between now and the end of the season. And is it almost results matter more than performances now in these? I don't know whether we're quite at the run-in yet, but these last few months, if you like.
Well, it definitely is the run-in for me. I mean, I'm lucky enough to have been there and done that. It is, you know, once you get to February, you know that countdown's on and the pressure builds, the expectations build. And, you know, you can't play well every game, every week, you know, as an individual, as a team. But when you grind out results, as we did against Wolves, it shows another side to the team, to the mentality of the squad. And we're going to have to show that mentality tonight as well, because I think Villa have come out and really go for us tonight at home. Disappointing result at the weekend against, you know, most of the game or half the game against Ipswich with 10 men. They only drew 1-1. Yeah. It's made those changes. They will come out and go for Liverpool tonight because they think we're vulnerable because we look tired second half. But we've got the players and the mentality, I think, to go all the way. But you've got to do it game in, game out, and I think that's why the manager's saying we can only concentrate on tonight, and that's all you can do.
But that mentality is crucial, isn't it? Because a lot of the players in this Liverpool team have kind of done it, whereas the Arsenal squad, it's been a long time since they've done it, and that can make a huge difference in the running, if you like.
Yeah, I hope so. The experience is there. You look around the squad and a lot of the players have experienced great success over the years. There's been changes. You start looking at the midfield in particular, the likes of Szoboszlai, McAllister, Gravenberch haven't won those major trophies. Did win the League Cup, of course, but looking at the Premier League titles, there's good experience within there. You're looking at those leaders. You're looking at Andy Robertson. You're looking at Virgil van Dijk. You're looking at Mo Salah, who can really help some of the ones who are hoping to achieve that. And because Liverpool have been in and around that mix and succeeded, I think that's the big difference with Arsenal. You're thinking, can they put a run together, Arsenal? And with the players not having that experience to achieve it, I think that's the big test and challenge for them.
Yeah, and the thing is, tonight, if we get 3 points tonight and we could score a couple of goals, the goal differences could come into it. But also it knocks them thinking, Liverpool just nicked a win at the weekend. I was watching that. And then they've gone to Villa Park where we thought there might be an upset. They've won that. And that knocks their confidence a little bit more.
Psychology plays a big part at this stage of the season, doesn't it? All right, it is time for our viewers on social media to leave us now. Our Match Day Live build-up, though, continues here on LFC TV after the break. If you're watching this and you are not yet a subscriber, then you can find details on how to sign up online right now, liverpoolfc.com/watch. Coming up in the rest of our pre-match show, we'll look ahead to the game with Arne Slot, and at 7:30 we've got live audio commentary of the full game. Phil Thompson is with Steve Hunter for that, and we've got all the post-match reaction for you from 9:30 tonight when Tomo will join Neil and myself in the studio right here. That post-match show also going to be available to listen to in the Reaction podcast later on as the club's official podcast, and you can watch the full game on LFC TV from midnight. Look out as well for Inside to go behind the scenes of events at Villa Park this evening. That will be landing on Facebook and on YouTube as well tomorrow. Now, for those with us on LFC TV, we are heading to a break now. Lots more to come, though, as we build up to Liverpool's trip to Villa Park. They've only lost once in their last 10 visits, only the one draw in there as well. So take comfort from that stat, maybe, if you're feeling a little bit nervous ahead of kickoff. We're back in a couple of minutes' time.